Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be riding my horse Tarek for the third time ever. So the first two rides we just worked on moving forward with the vocal cue and also just feeling the weight under saddle. But today I wanted to do something a little bit different and try and get some more forward movement, a bit more of pace. So I'm going to set up the reverse round yard because Tarek has been trained in a reverse round yard. He loves it. I haven't used one for a while though because we did just transition to like a normal round pen. But I think that this is going to be really helpful to help him figure out that forward movement and also just some more rhythm and regularity. Again, I'm just using my cheap bareback pad that I got. I will be investing in probably a barefoot physio pad pretty soon because I just don't like how this pad is kind of like cushioning him. It's not very cushiony, but it is working for now for the initial stages. So this is the reverse round yard setup. I know it looks like crap. I just made it really quickly within like a minute with what was in the arena already, but he understands the concept, so I don't really need anything fancy, although it doesn't look very good. So we just worked on walking around with nice relaxed rhythm and head down because that is what I wanted him to do under saddle. And I know that he was getting a little bit stressed about me riding him in the last two sessions just because he wasn't really sure what I was wanting. And when he starts getting worried about not knowing what I want, then he starts getting all in his head and he starts getting tense. And I just wanted to bring back some more of that relaxation. So that's what we started with. That's the point that I want him to be at the end of the session, but we'll just see how it goes. I like to set sort of like an intention or like a goal for the session, but I'm not too strict on that goal. Like I'm also like, let's just see how the session goes. And if we don't get to exactly where I wanted to be, that's okay. As long as we make some moves towards that, then I'm happy. Once I was happy with how warmed up he was, I decided to try and mount up. But he started to do this thing that he has actually never done before. So I could tell in his body that he was holding quite a lot of tension, which is also obviously what I wanted to work through today. But as soon as I put my leg over, as you can see, he gave me a very clear no. And that's the first time that he's sort of done that. So I went, okay, let's line up again. So I asked him to line up. And as you can see, he knows what I want, but you can see he's a bit fidgety. Like he knows what I want, but he's got a bit of conflict as in he's like, I don't want to do that. Like if I line up, I know that you're going to get on my back and I don't want you to get on my back for whatever reason. I think that the reason he didn't want me to get on his back was because he was getting a bit tense about what I wanted when I was on his back. So he was lacking clarity and that's causing him a bit of stress and a bit of anxiety. So I decided to change tack and I increased his reinforcer. So he loves the food from his bucket. The exact same food is in my tree pouch, but for him, the bucket is way more reinforcing just because he's got that reinforcement history of like everything from the bucket tastes way better, you know? So I decided to get the bucket and I just wanted to show you guys like how avoidant he was. And I thought, all right, let's go back to the very basics. Can you stand still while I stand next to you like on the mounting block? Because that was where the behavior was starting. Like that was where he was starting to say no, was me just standing on the mounting block, because in his mind mounting block is the antecedent for me getting on his back. So that's the thing that's leading up to the thing that he doesn't like. Okay, so break it down into tiny little steps and just make sure he's okay with every single step. We did this first step for quite a while, but obviously I'm not going to just show you me repeatedly just standing next to my horse because that is really boring. So once I could stand next to him on the mounting block without him moving away, I transitioned to some weight on his back. So that was the next step. And then rewarding him with a really high value reinforcer. And then the next step, which would be having my leg over him as well, because that's the next step in his mind of me mounting rather than me just laying on his back, because he knows when I'm laying on his back that I'm going to just slide off again. And then the next step, which is mounting him completely. And here I'm giving him the head down tactile cue, which is me touching his neck like that. And then when he did it, I clicked, got off, and then gave him his high value reinforcer again. So as you can see, I'm like really, really breaking it down. And obviously I've cut this video a lot, so like to save time, but I do spend a lot of time in between this, like just waiting, just giving him a lot of time to just chew and relax and decompress and think about each step and each thing that I've asked him. Again, I repeated this step a bunch of times before I moved on to the next step. So generally a good rule is like 3 repetitions, like good repetitions before you move on to the next step. And if your horse isn't getting it, then move back a step. It's fine to go back a step. I go back steps all the time. It actually just makes learning faster. So here he actually started to think that I wanted him to go around the reverse round yard, because the cue for him to go around the reverse round yard is pretty much just me standing in the middle of the round yard because we do it so often. So I thought this is a good chance to get on and see, he let me just mount perfectly fine and then ask him to walk forward and see if I can get him to go a little bit around the round yard, because that's the bit that he's sort of like not really getting, and that's why he's getting confused, because he doesn't understand that I just want him to do what we do when I'm on the ground, only I'm going to be now on his back. He did give me a few steps, so I'm not going to ask for too much. I clicked that and then dismounted instantly and gave him his high value reinforcer. So all of this is just like giving him little pieces to be like, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want, so that he can kind of put it together like in his head. And then I thought this was funny. So here I ask him to line up again. And instead of lining up, he's like, I don't want to do that. I just want to walk around the reverse round yard. And I'm like, yes, that's what I want. I want you to do this. You're halfway there, but I just want you to do it with me on your back. That's the part that he's just not grasping. But yeah, I thought that this was quite funny. Anyway, I don't reward him for going around the reverse round yard without me on his back, because that's not what I'm looking for. So I just asked him to come back and line up again, and I mounted him again. And then I was like, all right, let's see if we can do it again. Let's see if you can walk around there with me on your back, because he's obviously thinking walk around the reverse round yard, okay? And that's what I want. So I'm just gently guiding him with the reins. I'm not really using them too much. And this was the first time since I've started riding him that I actually felt like he had a little bit of forward movement, and we actually had a bit of a nice rhythm going. All the other times his steps have been quite hesitant and a bit shaky, like he's a bit unsure. But this was the first time that I actually felt that he was like, oh, I get it. So obviously I quickly dismount after a good couple of forward steps, and I just completely untack him. I give him the rest of the bucket. I completely untack him to be like, yes, that is what I wanted. Good job.